Want it more than you want to breathe. Charles Fennell. All right, guys, so it is amazing to be back in the lab because of what we did with football, one catch, $1. We've earned a significant amount of money, but we also received some funds just for our allowance. And boy, I've bought in some pretty cool things with it. The first thing I want to talk about is a very, very good investment. We are no longer If I've ever made a trash investment, it was playing on this terrible, terrible mat. It is, oh my God, I am just so happy to be done with it. I don't even know how happy I am. And as you can see from the ashes of that mat, we get this mat. Now, to be honest with you, this wasn't my first choice or my second choice or my third or fourth choice. But when it came to rubber mats, I actually wanted the Ash Blossom mat before this one. And unfortunately, that one was a little bit too expensive. This was a nice, smooth $20. And that's a pretty decent price for a mat like this. I'm actually really excited to start using this instead of that. And since we are planning on this being the last Magical Musket episode, I decided to go all out, ball out on the Magical Musket strategy and improve with some cards that I think are heavily needed. The first thing I wanted to add is Evil Swarm Excited Knight for the extra deck. This card is actually going to be so powerful for the strategy because of how I changed how I want to operate under this strategy. This card is going to allow me to break some boards and be able to go to some other cards that I want to make, such as Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. This was a $2 card. Divine Arsenal AA Zeus was a $10 Yu-Gi-Oh card. So already using $12 from our budget. Very fortunate that those routes are going to eat up a decent portion of that. Divine Arsenal AA Zeus was amazing in testing. And the theory is because if I can make a rank 4 really fast, I can make Excited Knight, blow my opponent's board, and then slam a Divine Arsenal AA Zeus with more materials and be able to wreck my opponent's board. But what if I needed a way to just hard make a 4 material Zeus? Now, obviously, I can't do things like Downward Magician because that's really strong, but also fairly expensive right now. But I did find a very good alternative, Constellar Omega to the Ptolemy M7. So I can use 2 of my light monsters to exceed into the Omega, attack with the Omega or the M7, and then slam the Zeus on top of the M7, the Omega, and the 2 materials. That is a 4 material Zeus. And the most important thing is that Ptolemy M7 cost me 10 cents and Constellar Omega cost me 74 cents. So really negligible. I'm just going to count those both as $1. And then from there, the Big Daddy card, the card that I hope will help this deck tremendously, is going to be 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. Now, I got these Dark Ruler No Mores at $6 each, but it is 100% a card that I think players should be picking up like right now. I don't care what the Fallen Albaz structure deck says. You pick up these, especially if they don't get printed in Grand Creators. This is a really amazing budget card that allows you to negate your opponent's board and be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Hand traps are not necessarily good, which is the reason why I've dropped both Skullmeister and Effect Veiler from my Magical Musketeer deck, and I've went in favor of these cards. Now, there are some other really cheap cards, insanely cheap cards that I decided to add to the deck. Book of Eclipse were 10 cents each. I actually just kind of like, I'm not even gonna lie, I just went through my collection. I mean, you could have asked somebody, they're 10 cent Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And Baguska is another 10-cent card from the Maximum Gold. Unfortunately, in Vegas, it is almost impossible to find Maximum Golds, so I'm going to have to proxy a Maximum Gold. I'm going to use an Ultra Rare Baguska, but remember, that was a 10-cent Yu-Gi-Oh card. So in total, we spent 18, 28, 32, 33. We spent $33 this time around to upgrade our Magical Musket deck using Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and $20 on a game mat. Now, one thing I have noticed is that my card sleeves have been getting fairly grimy. And it just happens when you play the card game so much. We did a ton of testing trying to fix this deck, so I thought it was in order to get some new sleeves, and I really want to try out these Guard Ink sleeves. Very new company, and I hear a lot of great things about them, so it'll be really interesting to put these through the test and put them through a tournament setting to see how powerful these are, or to see how good they are. They did cost me $5, so $25 for this, $32. That is a pretty hefty budget, but Magical Musketeer is going to send them out on the last ride, and hopefully we're going to be able to get a very good game. So let's go ahead and make this into a deck. And just like that, we have a Magical Musketeer deck profile sleeved and ready to go. Now, let me go over this Magical Musketeer deck profile, as I've made quite the significant changes outside of the cards that we have added. There are some really cool, spicy things that I'll be able to go for you really quickly before announcing where I'm going to for a tournament. Now, starting off with the Magical Musketeer monsters, it's going to be pretty standard with 3 Casper, 3 Starfire, 3 Doc this time around. That is actually out of the ordinary. I feel that Doc is just as important as Starfire and Casper, as recurring your Magical Musket cards is just as equally as important as special summoning and searching, allowing you to provide a continuous grind. Another thing that we decided to go with out of the ordinary is 2 copies of Magical Musketeer Calamity. Now, this is a deck that I just put some very, very powerful rank 4 monsters in, and I really want to be able to pop off with those rank 4 monsters. Also, Calamity serves as another way of dock, but for the monsters back to your side of the field, for you to be able to make not only those cool Exceed and Link plays, but also providing utility. I understand that Calamity is a card that you don't want to open, but I mean, nor is Kid Brave. You literally do not want Kid Brave. You almost never want to use this effect. He's like the worst Magical Musketeer card that is being played right now, because even if you do draw 2 of one particular Magical Musketeer card in your deck, you can use one on your turn and on your opponent's turn. Like, just make use of good cards, because I don't really play any bad Magical Musketeer cards, so there's never really a time I want to discard with Kid Brave. We follow that up with 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. Next is 3 copies of Cross Dom, 3 copies of Last Stand, 3 copies of Desperado, 1 copy of Dancing Needle, and the new Magical Musket card that I'm actually including is 1 copy of Magical Musket Crooked Crown. This card is actually insane when you draw multiple Magical Musketeer monsters. I know sometimes it doesn't happen, but a lot of times you're just like, oh my god, this is really, really overlooked for a lot of Magical Musketeer players, as it can special summon a monster and X out a zone on the opponent's side of the field, one that they might need if they're heavily dependent on links. Moving forward, 3 copies of Pot of Desires. I actually cut this at one point in time and then put it right back in, because drawing 2 cards is drawing 2 cards. 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Jesse actually said I could keep the secret rare, so I'm really appreciative of you, Jack. Thank you so much, Jesse. We got that little swag on our sides. And hopefully this comes up, because, you know, using this under dock is a free search. Metal Foes Fusion for when we want to draw. If we do draw this card, we can use our Nightmare Monsters to get it to the graveyard. Now, instead of hand traps, I decided to play going second cards, because this is a going second deck, and I really don't care about the boards you make. I just have to be in charge of breaking it. With that being said, Forbidden Chalice is one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the game right now, and I'm so happy that they're common, or we'd be SOL. Our 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More helps us break boards like Dragoon that we were struggling with in our very first episode, and allows us to just break any board that we want. And then I was debating on Mystic Mine, but I decided to go with Book of Eclipse, because this flips my opponent's monsters face down, still keeps them on the field, and allows me to pop over my Magical Muskets. I think there are just too many situations where players can just Cosmic Cyclone, because a lot of players are starting to main board that now, or Sword Soul Blackout, or just get rid of my Mystic Mine before I can pop off with it. But Book of Eclipse, you kind of just have to deal with flipping their monsters face down. And also keep in mind, you can't flip links face down. So if I have a Magical Musketeer max, I can flip all monsters face down and still be able to activate my Magical Musket cards. Moving on, for the extra deck, 3 copies, or side deck, 3 copies of Lancia, 1 copy of Dino Rescuer Pink. I think Cosmic Cyclones are really good. Harpy's Feather Duster, clear my opponent's board. Red Reboot, because I don't want to deal with my opponent's back row, but more importantly, If I red reboot a back row heavy deck, I can probably go for game because I'll still be able to summon enough monsters. 3 copies of Gozen Match for when I'm forced to go first in a deck that's weak to it, and 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier card that overperformed the last time we played it. That's it for the monsters and the sideboard. For the extra deck, Borolo Dragon is still really cheap for us. Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix, and Nightmare Cerberus, those cards are phenomenal. 3 copies of Magical Musketeer Max. I actually feel like I should drop one of these for Tornado Dragon, but I've always only used 2. I'm not sure yet though. 1 Baguska, 1 M7, 1 Excited Knight, 1 Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, 1 Constellar Omega, 1 Phantom Knight's Breaksword, 1 Utopia, and 1 Utopia Lightning. So one thing I do want to focus on is no Utopia double. We were really focusing, or I really tried to build the deck with Utopia double, and I realized that that's just a clog. It doesn't really help me. The times that I can attack for game with Utopia double never came up through testing. So let's see if it's going to bite me back in the ass when we go through our games, and if it's going to hurt me, or if we just don't need the Utopia double. The next thing is no Amazement Engine. Even though I did pull an amazing time ticket, I'm gonna go against the Amazement Engine because in testing it just added more bricks to it. So I do think that this is probably the most powerful version of Magical Musketeer without those really expensive cards like Pot of Prosperity, which would help this deck greatly, and other extra deck cards which would probably be a little better for you. No Lightning Storm, no Triple Tactics Talent either. And now we are on to announcing how exactly I'm going to be playing this. So as you know, I've been playing this at locals quite some times and we've been really successful. But what if I take it to the next level? Remote duels is a really fun and exciting concept. And basically, for the people that don't know what remote duels are, you use your camera to be able to duel online. Now, obviously, there is a lot of integrity that has to be involved because players can cheat. But since Jest is running the tournament inside of my Discord server, I feel a lot more confident. I'm going to be able to play some new faces and be able to potentially win some games. I am stupid excited right now. And let's see how Magical Musketeers can actually do against an entirely different competition. Now, if you do want to participate in the remote duel tournament, then go ahead and join my Discord. It looks like we'll be launching these about every Friday. I actually participated in last week's tournament and didn't do too well when we were testing Magical Muskets, but let's see how it's going to happen this time, and let's hopefully get some really good games. So here we are, the remote duel locals. I am excited. It's going to be a little weird talking to you, but let's move around the house in between rounds. I actually get to go against and hopefully get my revenge against Christian playing Altergeist. Now, if you guys did not know and you're not a part of the Discord community, sucks to be you. Still not too late to join, but Christian scraped me. He opened Imperial Order twice. What am I supposed to do? And I opened all spells, so it's no bueno. We're going to go ahead and let Christian start off by going first. He finds a healthy Pot of Extravagance for 2, then a Nadir Servant for an Ecclesia, normal summons Marionetter to set his protocol, and some back row. And I mean some back row, I mean some back row. Altergeist is easily one of the most scariest decks to go against and is only getting stronger with Brothers of Legend. How am I going to be able to crack this board? Well, slowly. I normal summon Doc into my Magical Musketeer Max. He activates an Infinite Impermanente. Unfortunately for him, I have that secret Magical Musket Last Stand negating it and also allowing me to special summon Magical Musketeer Calamity, Starfire, and Casper to my side of the field. From there, I have to make an executive decision using Casper and Starfire for a link into Nightmare Unicorn, targeting one of his back row cards. He chains Infinite Impermanence again. I'm like, why? I was actually really banking on that co-link to be able to draw an additional card, and that Infinite Impermanence does hurt a lot, but not so much. Before we go into open game state, he wants to activate that personal spoofing, shuffling in a Mel You Seek to be able to search Altergeist Multifaker and try to break my board, but that's not happening today as I have the Desperado activating it under my Calamity, destroying his personal spoofing and allowing me to special summon back to my side of the field. When you go against Altergeist, you really, and I mean really, have to win that game of attrition. He doesn't have a lot of back row left. I have a lot of Magical Muskets left. And here's actually where I could have made Utopia double and win for game, but since I don't play it, we just gonna grind him out. Game 2 looks more or less the same as game 1. My man normal summons Marionetter, sets the protocol, some back row, pass turn. And This is a board that I'm gonna have to break consistently if I'm going to get past Altergeist. I normal summon Magical Musketeer Starfire and activate Pot of Desires under it. He says everything is okay, as I'm allowed to banish 10 to draw 2, but upon triggering the effect of Magical Musketeer Starfire, he wants to use Solemn Strike. Now that is a very, very good Yu-Gi-Oh card, but Christian, you remember when you drew all the one-ups? My turn! As I'm gonna activate Red Reboot on that hoe, flip that Solemn Strike back face down, my good sir, but also set an additional trap card and allow me to special summon the monster that I wish. I use Starfire into a link of Magical Musketeer Max, chain link to Parallel Exceed, and then from there we are literally able to build whatever board we want. Ironically enough, if I can make a Utopia double here, I win the game. But it really doesn't matter, as our Magical Musketeer Max allowed us to summon a plethora of monsters to our side of the field. As a last-ditch effort, Christopher tries to use Dogmatica Fleur Delete to protect him, but we got Desperado to destroy it. We also even have the Cross Dom to reduce his Marionetter's attack to 0. That is easy peasy revenge 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. See, I'm in Sabrina's room, but I have to be like this because, my boy flipped his camera like this, so let's just get into the festive spirits of being upside down. Round 2, I go against Phantom Knight, one of the best strategies in Yu-Gi-Oh! Hands down. How am I gonna beat a normal summoned Ash Blossom? How? It's just no way. I just might as well just scoop and go to King 2, right? Unfortunately for our opponent, he does have to normal summon Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, activating Tincture Jackalope, and fortunately for us, or him, he doesn't hit the card that, if we do hit, we don't have to deal with certain things. He eventually makes Cherubini into his Rusty Bardish, and then ends on a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Boy, I have not seen you in a long time, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. What are you doing? Our turn starts off extremely mundane. Normal summon Casper. Attempt to activate a spell card. He goes Imperial Order. We activate the Magical Musket Last Stand. Boy, I have never seen you, or never have needed to see you more in my life. Unfortunately, upon trying to activate the Casper's effect, he negates it, and that is the end of our turn. Look, if he draws an additional monster, we lose. Fortunately enough, I am able to stop his Phantom Knight's Rusty Bardish, and the only thing he can do is attack for the damage that he has on board, and then pass his turn, so it's right back to us. And yeah, how I would love to see the card that I needed, Dark Ruler No More, baby! Dark Ruler No More is literally the perfect tandem for Magical Musketeer Starfire, allowing us to special summon an additional monster, make Magical Musketeer Max to do whatever it wants, summon a plethora of monsters, but more importantly, we get over that Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. From there, going against the Phantom Knight matchup is not necessarily hard, as we do have a way to stop any of his recursion. Dancing Needle allows me to banish all of his Phantom Knight cards. I also have Desperados and Magical Musketeer Cross Dominations on the max, so whenever I need those to stop whatever he's trying to do, yeah, we got it, and that's game. Game 2, he actually chooses that I go first, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I have a normal summon Magical Musketeer Starfire, and that's it, big dog. Go ahead and do what you gotta do. He responds by activating Emergency Teleport in the column of Starfire, and I'm like, Starfire effect. He's able to special summon a Psychic Wielder. I'm able to special summon a Casper. It's a fair trade, right? He goes into his Cherubini. I activate the effect of Desperado before he can use the effect of his Cherubini, destroying it, and then triggering my Magical Musketeer Casper's effect to search. And before we go into open game state, I activate the Magical Musketeer trap card that allows me to special summon Doc. Apologies if I can't remember his name right now. All of the blood is literally rushing to my head. He goes Battle Phase, and I'm like, that is, yeah, that's a situation. He activates Evenly Matched. We activate Last Stand on that hole. Watch me, you! And since it was under Doc, we add another Magical Musket from our graveyard to our hand. We're literally able to steamroll the game from there. It's not much Phantom Knight can do. And Teddy actually helped me do it. Round 3 is literally going against what you know versus going against what you don't know. Fortunately for me, I'm on the side of no, and he's on the side of don't know. We do get to play against Sword Soul, the actual first time we actually get to play against Sword Soul. This time around, he's going to be on Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer, setting 2 back row and then activating that Destiny Fusion. Being able to summon DPE with 2 back row is kind of stellar, dude. Unfortunately, he doesn't know how magical Musketeer monsters work. He just kind of, maybe kind of. We start off by normal summoning magical Musketeer Starfire. He immediately uses Effect Veiler, and I'm like, okay, I see where you're going. You don't want me to use Starfire's effect, but what if I just link into this magical Musketeer max? Chainlink 2 is going to be Parallel Exceed, so now he can't Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring me. We are able to special summon a ton of monsters to our side of the field, so let's start with the board breaking. Now, I do attempt to gain the access of magical Musketeer Casper's effect. He's going to chain an infinite impermanence, and I'm like, you should have impermed the magical Musketeer max, but it doesn't even matter because I still have, you already know, the last stand to be able to stop that infinite impermanence. I still have to get rid of the monster that's worth more than my entire deck and extra deck combined, so I make a Nightmare Cerberus to force its effect to be activated. He chains its effect, targeting itself in the max. And again, when you don't necessarily know what to play, you just know max burned you, why not stop the max? I think it was smart, but unfortunately it is co-linked with Nightmare Cerberus, so it will still stay on the field anyways. And what's even worse is that I actually search a magical Musket Dancing Needle. I'm able to banish his Celestial, his Dasher, and his DPE. That's pretty much the game. Now, just because you don't know what you don't know doesn't mean you can't learn. And this is a very good player because, oh boy, he learned. He's going to start off his turn busted. He makes the she shall search. Then he makes the bet on dead floor. Oh my God, what are you doing, baby? And then he makes the Arch Nemesis Protos declaring light. Day after day, it seems like I push against the cloud. So the problem with Arch Nemesis Protos is that I can't special summon light monsters, and I only have one monster, not a light monster, that's Parallel Exceed. But the problem with that is, in order to summon Exceed, I have to summon a monster that's light. My Link one's light. I can't special summon. That doesn't really bother me too much. I normal summon Casper, activate Pot of Desires. In this situation, for him to negate the Pot of Desires was fine. Unfortunately for him, I just so happen to have the Cross Domination, reducing the bet on DeFlora to 0, and that's exactly what I'm going to attack over. That plus the Desperado allows me to get over to Shishal as well. And while I'm here, let me give a shout out to Desperado and Cross Dom and Magical Musket Last Stand. Boy, these cards have been putting in work. When my opponent wants to go for a big play, I Book of Eclipse that flip all live monsters face down. No synchro summoning for you. Fortunately, he's still gonna do things. He special summons Adhara, then he goes ahead and makes the Tenye monster that special summons and ultimately makes a Draco Berserker of Tenye. Oh man, that's not really good. And I couldn't be more than happy to draw a magical Musketeer Calamity. Now this may look like the face that hates magical Musketeer Calamity, but no, it does not. I proc Calamity's effect, make my second magical Musketeer max, do what I gotta do, eventually make a Utopia Lightning, attack over his monster, and here's where a misplay is conducted. I make a Divine Arsenal AA Zeus here, which I did not read Utopia Lightning. You can't use it as Exceed material. It happens in Yu-Gi-Oh! So like, it's just one of those misplays that we caught after the duel. Very fortunate that I even showed him like, yo, you know, I wasn't trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that to anybody. I actually did have the combo to make Omega and still make a 4 material Zeus, which would have been the outcome of the game that was the decider. All right, big dog. This is what we've been waiting for. This is for all of the marbles, 3-in-1. This could be huge. Our very 4th round, we go against Shadal Invoked, and he gets the opportunity to go first. Setting a monster in defense and 2 cards base face down, I immediately read what they are. That is a Dogmatic Punishment, and you don't play Imperial Order. So that other card, that's a Shadal Schism. That's all I can think of. I don't know. Actually, I don't know what he's playing at this point in time. I'm gonna go ahead and start off by normal summoning Starfire, activating Pot of Desires. That is perfectly fine. Getting a special summon, then making Magical Musketeer max effect Chainlink 1, Parallel Exceed Chainlink 2, Infinite Impermanence Chainlink 3. Oh well. One thing I do know is since he does have a face down defense position monster at this point in time, I really do think it is Shadal. So I make Utopia Lightning right here because I'm like, huh, I can just attack into your monster for free. But before I can get over his monster, he activates that Dogmatic Punishment, and that's when I know it's Shadal. And if I needed more proof, he sends App Cologne, adds Shadal Fusion, discard Shadal Beast. Yep, that looks like a Shadal deck to me. I attack into what I know is an El Shaddai Windy, and then use cross domination to negate its attack and change its stats to 0. You're not gonna get a free special summon out of me today. I pass my turn and reap the benefits of Dogmatic of Punishment. Yes, he does have a Shaddai Fusion in hand, but he can't use it. With that being said, he just activates an Nadir Servant, sends App Cologne, adds the Shaddai Schism, and then discards a card, set a card face down, and passes his turn. This gives me a very huge opening to push for some damage. Normal summoning another Magical Musketeer monster, making another Magical Musketeer max, summoning more monsters to my side of the field. He activates Shaddai Schism, I activate the Desperado. We already know what's going on here. Using the effect of Magical Musketeer Dock to cycle in the important cards that I need, swing for a huge amount of damage, but more importantly, I link off both of my maxes into a Nightmare Cerberus. Now you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do this? Well, if you've watched the Budget series and all of its episodes, I know how to play against it all. He activates that Shaddai Fusion, I Desperado my own extra deck monster. Yep, I'm that petty. He can't resolve the effect of Shaddai Fusion, so we win the game from there. Game 2. We could just go to game 3 because I literally just bricked. I didn't draw anything. I was very disappointed. I felt like we could have possibly, well actually, of course we could have gave a way better game, but we're going to game 3. And then that's what it really hit me, like, dog. Me going undefeated and me not going undefeated really depends on me drawing a good hand. I literally just lost a game because I drew a brick hand, and I have not bricked in quite some time. Can we keep this streak going? Because I think we built this Magical Musketeer deck soundly. Game 3 is an absolute dogfight. He makes Invoked Mechaba on his side of the field, and I'm like, that's some good Yu-Gi-Oh right there. We go ahead and Dark Ruler no more under a Casper. He Ash Blossoms and Joyous Sprigsby. But it's okay. We make Magical Musketeer Max, Chainlink 2, Parallel Exceed, make the Utopia Lightning, and attack over that situation, because I know you got some Alistairs in hand. From there, my man activates Shaddai Fusion, and I'm like, oh. How did I not outplay that? Why didn't I just link off my 2 monsters and then... no bueno. I'm gonna lose because of this, am I? My man goes on a rage. He makes App Cologne, then he makes Construct, then he proceeds to get a Schism too. So not only does he get to also special summon a beast to his side of the field, the board that I'm dealing with is heavy. Here's where it all comes down to. This is exactly what I've been writing for. I top deck a Magical Musketeer Casper. This is a start. I normal summon Magical Musketeer Casper, link summon into Magical Musketeer Max. He chains the effect of El Shaddai Schism to summon Winda, and I'm like, you know what? That is not bad at all. Like, I can 100% deal with this. And you want to know why? Mainly because, so first of all, Winda doesn't see the summon of my Magical Musketeer Max, so I can still special summon one more time. Secondly, what's even more important is that I'm searching spell cards anyways. Oh, third. I forgot about third. I have a Forbidden Chalice in hand. I don't care about Winda right now. Now I legitimately need a monster. Like, if I don't draw a monster, we lose here. And this Pot of Desires really needs to hit, because I do have the card that allows me to special summon to my side of the field. I keep forgetting this card's name, but it's a goat. But I don't have a monster. Pot of Desires hopefully finds me into a card. Come on, Desires! Oh boy! Not only does Pot of Desires find its way into another Casper, it also finds its way into a Foolish Burial Goods, and Metal Fool's Fusion has not been banished off Desires. Oh my god! Oh my god, we special summon the Magical Musketeer Casper to our side of the field. Then we activate that ever so powerful, oh yes, we need to see that card, Foolish Burial Goods for our Metal Foes Fusion, proccing the effect of Casper, allowing him to search. We are actually able to break over his board fairly easily, and this time we actually have a backup plan. I have a Desperado to destroy his monster's attacks. I have a Cross Dom to reduce his monster's attack to 0. The Utopia Lightning's effect still is active anytime it battles a monster. Then yeah, that monster won't be able to, activate its effect, so no more Shaddai Fusions, please. My opponent starts off his turn, goes into the main phase, and that's when time is called. And I have more life points than him. Not by much, but I got more life points than him. Now, I'm not gonna lie, my opponent does have a very fearsome board. But here's the crazy thing. He's like, yo, can we see how this would play out if we play it? I think I can win. I'm like, I don't think you can win. So, his Shut All Scusum gets countered by Desperado, his Invocation gets countered by My Last Stand, and when he wants to declare an attack into my monster, I still have Cross Dom and Damage Step. Yeah. Unfortunately, this is the game.
Everybody.
Yo, yo.
Not everyone's here.
What's going on?
How's everyone doing? Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I had fun round 2, 3, and 4. Round 1 I did not have fun.
I don't want to play.
I got slapped by Sword Soul.
How do you, I mean, that's how we're going to get better, right, guys? You know, go against better decks.
Practice is practice.
Yeah.
Gotta
Ooh.
make better decks. Oh,
Who has the turbine in the background? God, come on, guys.
Yeah, it's a fucking tornado.
So, with 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, we have Sasha, Darlexon, Christian, and Succubussin.
Let's go.
Succubussin, dog. That name still gets to me, dog. I don't care what you say.
And then Callie going completely undefeated this one, making up for last week. And
Hey, don't talk about that.
Who
Who did you lose to?
Everybody. It's who did I beat, dog? Like,
I mean, you got your revenge on me today.
I mean, yeah. You didn't open double IO, so like, you know, we can play.
Yeah. We're good. Trust me.
How many of the top 5 actually just lost Callie? I think that was their one loss.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Is everybody like in the 5 lost? Well, it'll only be 3 people or 4 people. Did everybody just only lose to me?
Nah, I didn't lose to you. I would have flipped
hand.
skill drain against you again.
Oof! I want that
And
revenge,
Christian.
Sasha.
The only one that got into the top 5 that didn't play against Callie was Sasha.
Yeah, he would have flipped double skill drain on me again though. I'm like confident in that because that's all he does. All I get is double
I
IO,
didn't see
double skill drain.
Nah, I didn't see skill drain at all this tournament.
Thank you. Now I hope you continue not to see skill drain.
I didn't see order all day either.
Oh my god, I'm getting tired of you guys. Go home. Seriously, guys, I do appreciate every single one of you guys for coming out. Like, you guys are fucking phenomenal. Let's keep up these remote duels. It was really, really fun to do. And then we're going to obviously have more people. I want to do pricing. I think every single one of you guys were, you know, you came out, you played your asses off, you played hard, and it's really exciting just to get remote duels going. And hopefully between remote duels and master duels and all the other things that we'll be doing in the server, we'll be able to have more fun. And it's gonna be a blast, guys. I promise you that. That was phenomenal. Going undefeated with Magical Musketeers. First place. It is a feeling that we've been chasing with the deck, but there are some very hard truths. The first thing is that once my locals became really hip to how Magical Musketeers work, it's become extremely hard to play. This is a very, very fun budget deck to play, but my ultimate synopsis of it is that it's not that very great right now. It's going to need more support to be able to compete in today's meta, but with a very skilled pilot such as yours truly, you could do some damage and including go undefeated. You heard it from the TO himself. First place and 2 of the 3 other people were people that I beat. 3 of the 5 people were people that I beat. So Magical Musketeer is definitely a really, really fun deck to play. Really exciting and can win some games with the right pilot. Also, for those sleeves, they're actually really, really, really good. I mean, like, I like them so far, but I have to put them through the gauntlet just to make sure that they spice. But I have to say that that was a stunning finish for Magical Musketeers. I am extremely excited to pick up the next budget deck. I want you to let me know what should be the next budget deck we should do to continue on to the series. It's been amazing. I'm going to go ahead and go relax. It's very late, which is the reason why we didn't even play out top 4. But more importantly, I'll catch you on the next one, guys.